Okay. Actually, let me if I can just. Okay. Hey everybody. I wanted to discuss this update on Heroscape: Age of Annihilation. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna get right into this. Um, I've been a Heroscape fan for a long time. I don't know exactly when I got into it, but it was when I was really young. I'm trying to lock this in. There we go. It was when I was really young. One of the first major board games that I played, and I played a lot of this as a kid. My buddies and I would set up. We would set up massive, what we could, massive boards. I think my next door neighbor had a set available, and so yeah, we would set up and discuss it, and we would play it. And I remember one time my friend and I got access to a conference table, and so we set up as much as we could on a conference table, which was pretty cool. But anyway, so Heroscape has announced that it's making a comeback uh, in Heroscape: Age of Annihilation, and we had this great trailer, which I should have actually pulled up. I might pull that up in a second. And yeah, so what do I think of it? Um, Off the bat, this looks really good. I'm excited that the terrain is the same. I was afraid that they were when they first announced it. I was worried that they might go with some all new terrain, and so I'm excited that they didn't. That they used the classic stuff. So for people who have held on to their collections for all these years, it'll it'll match what we have. These monsters look interesting. Is there a way I can get this to? No. Okay. Well, let me go adjust my camera so I'm not in the way. And that's not my camera. There we go. That's here for now. Okay. So yeah, these are the main figures that they're running with. This is a setup of the map. I don't know how much. What they say? Includes 74 base pieces, 68 wall terrain pieces, and 9 jungle terrain pieces. Okay, so 74 pieces. So this probably is the whole board right here, which is a little on the small side, but it's not the worst. I do love that they give you a lot more terrain to make it pop, a lot more of these wall pieces, and more of the some more jungle pieces. I remember that the jungle pieces came out; they looked really good, and it looks like these are, if they're not the same, they're pretty close. Okay, so this is one of the controversial decisions, if you will. They decided to use unpainted miniatures. So I am not affected by this by that much because I prefer to paint my own miniatures, and the paint jobs that Heroscape had went with traditionally wasn't great. Um, so to me it's fine, but I can understand why some people would be upset at this, especially people who don't want to take the time to paint. Because I understand it is very time consuming to paint, and so and the joke is for people who paint miniatures, you will always have more miniatures than unpainted than painted, and there's a lot of truth to that. So Get out of here. But anyway, but I think the miniatures look great. Probably some of their best work so far, which is good. Miniature sculpting has come a long way since Heroscape was out, so it's a lot easier to make high quality miniatures. So the other change, I haven't really read what people think about this yet, but it's the price. I don't remember what the box sets cost, but I was affording it on like minimum wage, with no overhead. Admittedly, I lived with my parents, but it didn't seem like Heroscape was stupid expensive when it was out. But this is $250. That's a lot. For a board game, that's a lot of money. So I well, I guess some of the I would like to know what people think about this actually, because how much figures did it say it came with? I know it's up here somewhere. Limit 5 per customer. Why would they put a limit of 5 per customer? Not available in Canada, Quebec, Canada. So calculating the shipping at the time of checkout could be a little detrimental to them, because so 71 miniatures detailed. Yeah, that's a decent amount of miniatures. I I need to look to see what other games are out right now to see what the price is. Like if I were to get a Cool Mini or Not game with a decent amount of miniatures, what would that cost? So 50 army cards. So the reason why Heroscape has 50 army cards, which is what you would use to keep track of who you have, as opposed to 71 miniatures, is because some of those are units, which means that there might be like 2 or 3 or even 4 of them in a pack. These all look like heroes here, but we'll go down and explore. So 5 original factions. That's something that I didn't quite expect. For those who don't know, Heroscape originally had, I think it was 5 factions then, and they were essentially 5 Valkyrie, who they were named after, but they would always be themed. Like Utgar would be the, and again I'm doing this off the top of my head, but Utgar would be more of the he was the red faction, and he would be more like blood and not blood. He would be more like big robotics and a lot of attack dice. And I'm gonna move myself over again since I'm not on there. I'll try to keep an eye on how things are looking. Anyway, okay. So having 5 new factions, it's cool. I'm fine with the idea. The idea is, it's been 10 years, so things would have progressed. That's not that's not a turnoff for me, I guess. Dryan Lifeborn Order. I don't know. The Nemesis Warblood. The Dawn Raider Syndicate. The Clockwork Combine. Those guys could be cool. And the Ironclad Collective. Okay. Oh, and if you do the premium, okay. I don't really know a whole lot about Hasbro Plus. I've kind of ignored it. So, okay, these are exclusive figures that you get for backing the pre-order, or the pre-order. Not a huge fan of that, because there have been pre-orders or Kickstarters where I have not been in a place where I could afford it at the time, or I just didn't know about it until after the Kickstarter was done. And so by having these, I suspect these things are going to go for a lot on eBay, but it's a cool sculpt. Tyraxis Dragoon. And this one's really cool too. The Scarrow Rift Lord of Ruin. That's pretty cool. That's a centipede with machine guns. I mean, that's awesome. So that's neat. So one thing that's cool too is these stretch goals for legacy characters. These are characters that have been featured in the game before, but with just updated looks and updated factions in Raylan's case. But we'll talk about that. But I do love it when they can do these little, like this little 3D view, and obviously you can tell this was done in a like a 3D modeling program, but it looks great. And I love that they gave Drake Alexander a jetpack. That's awesome. His sword looks great. He always had this cartoonishly large sword, so that's neat that they've given him a better, more realistic sword. Solon, which that's if you get 12K backers. I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to keep track to see. I think right now they're at 2.2 thousand. So that'll be interesting. We'll watch this in a second. Q11. So there was Major Q9 and Major Q10. Let's see. What does it say? I'm gonna by Jandor. Yep. Zetacron Tech. Okay, that's Zetacron's mentioned, I think, before. Anyway, let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, this was cool. So, Solon came out when with the Swamp Master set, and he had a baby dragon. Well, this is his dragon now. That's awesome. That's a cool bit of that's a very cool that's a very cool idea. I love it. Yep. So Major Q11. Uh, it's interesting. Machine guns are enough, so give him a hammer. Okay, so this is one person, but the sculpt shows multiple, so that must be like something to do for ninja powers. That's pretty cool. I kind of remember her. I'm gonna have to break out my game and look through everything again. Um, yeah, so Braylon has switched. Yeah, so Raylan is I guess evil now. Okay. So then we have some peeks at some of the new orders. So this is Dyren or Dryan Lifeborn Order. Okay, so they're Dark Forest. Okay, so these people have lived in the forest. Neat. Okay. I think this dragon looks awesome, and they do too because they feature him in like everything. So that's cool. Okay, so this would be a sea creature of some kind. That's cool. Corruptor of Beast. I'm not gonna Holochat. I don't know. Okay, I love that design. It's like a centaur with antlers. I don't know. That's neat. Okay. So it looks like this guy. I don't know. So these creatures go from green to red, so they must have switched factions. The Nemesis Warblood, so these are going to be the red ones. Yeah, Nemesis Warblood. So I think these are like alien insectoid kind of a look to them, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at these little spider things. Oathbound Legionnaires. Oh, that's cool. I love that skull. That's awesome. Festering Honor Guard. And so she would be the queen, the corruptor. Okay, the Dawn Rider Syndicate. Whenever you hear syndicate, you think of a corporation that is very advanced in technology. Independent mercenaries. So these guys are going to be technology mercenaries. Oh, that's a neat design. So are they blue or purple? That's cool, though. So look, you got little pirate themed tech guys. They're like, I don't know. That's neat. And they're bringing dwarves in. I can't remember if there were dwarves in the original Heroscape or not, but I like the design. Oh, that's cool. I like that. And the Clockwork Combined. Okay. The clock. Well, they were pacifist until they were facing extinction, and then, yeah, it's hard to be a pacifist when you're dead. I love this miniature, though. This blimp is amazing. With a little sniper. And then there's this little... That's cool. It's like a squirrel with a jetpack or something. That's neat. These bear designs are pretty cool. At least I think they're bears. So did we talk about the Ironclad? No, the Ironclad Collective. Cold, calculating soldiers who employ sophistication, cybernetics, in the way of war, and way to play the game of war. That's a cool sculpt. Oh, but it's a large. Okay, so in Heroscape, you can always tell like when a creature is large because of these double bases, whereas most creatures have this. So this guy would have to sit on two hexes, and they have to be leveled. So he can't, like, you could build things to make traversal pretty hard, which is part of the game balance, which is awesome. Okay. So it seems like most of the new factions are either evil or neutral. There's a couple of good ones, but that's interesting because in the lore before then, at first they were all fighting, and then they had to come together to fight Utgar, who was winning the war. So, and here's some. I love this. This is some of the sketches of the characters. Oh, and this is some of the some of the 3D renderings of the terrain. That's really, really cool. And then this is updated rulebook. Okay, what are the tiny wound markers? I wonder what that's supposed to be. I wonder if some of the units can take damage now or something. 12 combat dice, that should be good. Okay, so you're going to have 3 of these tree pieces and 6 of these bush pieces. Okay. Yeah, so this is what they've announced essentially for their backing or their pre-order. They're not taking this is their kind of version of Kickstarter. Um, so let's see what this says here. Okay, it turns out that the audio isn't working, at least to my knowledge. Let's see. Let's try this. Yeah, the audio's not working. Okay. Don't know what's going on with that. I'll have to figure that out, but it's just, well, I guess we can watch it without sound. Um, some guy is not happy about the well springs because the well springs give visions of the future, and that's what in lore gives them the ability to summon warriors. So yeah, we'll see. I think it's supposed to be Jandar, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, it's been a long time since I've done any research on Heroscape and looked up the lore and stuff. So again, these are some good views of the sculpts, which they look great. I mean, these new sculpts look amazing. Yeah, that's just awesome. Although the design to make it look like they were cast in pewter is interesting, but oh, I didn't notice they hit a Gatling gun up there. That's really cool. So I think I realized what they were doing with the multicolor. Some of these are going to be part of old factions, and then some of them are going to be the new factions, um, which is fine. I love these walls too. I think that's awesome. Line of sight is a deal in Heroscape, so the walls are going to add some of that to that element. And yep, this is the 3D rendering of what to expect. So these must be the small. Okay. Oh, okay. So are those new cards? Which, if they are, it's fine. It's up here, I think. Yeah, right down here. Those look like those are the new cards. And they're hex shaped. That's fine. I would have actually just gone with the traditional shaped cards like the rectangles, but this works. They had this weird design that was I don't even know how to describe it. It had like these little arms coming out of it on all sides. So changing to these is fine. I just wonder. Okay, so that's what this was. So these are, yeah. So they're not showing off everything yet. Okay, so this would be movement, range, attack, and defense. So again, I think I think this is supposed to be compatible with classic Heroscape. So your obviously your movement is how many hexes you can move. The range is how many hexes you can attack. Most characters, or not most, some are melee, some are ranged. The attack is how many dice you get to roll when you're attacking, and your defense is how many dice you get to roll when you are defending. The scale is just pretty impressive too. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, these things are called glyphs. You could randomly put them out on your field, and if you have one of your characters standing on them, it activates certain powers that might give you a +1 to your attack, or just stuff like that. These are the dice. In the original game, you would roll. They would have red and blue dice, which I do have. But then somebody realized we could just make these one dice set and save money, which is fine. There's a 20-sided dice, and the game has had 20-sided dice before, if I remember right. So these are the order counters. So you would have 1, 2, 3, and X, and so you'd put those on your characters to say, oh, they're moving these orders. So the strategy was to try to take out your opponent's guys who are moving next, so they would have to skip a turn, and that's why you'd have an X, is so you could kind of bluff and hope that if they're going to kill one guy, it'd be that guy. Um, these are the wound markers, and they make these to where they're stackable, which is cool because some guys can take like 10 wounds before they die, and those must be the mini wound markers, and I really don't know what those would be used for, but I'm guessing we'll find out. Yeah, so there's this page here, and that was discussion. Let's see what else we got. Okay, this talks about some of the I guess the artwork and the behind the scenes where they're talking about things. I think this is supposed to update. Really like the designs, so that's cool. Yeah, I if I were them, I would include like an art book with some of the like. Oh, that's what I wanted to get into. So, I really don't care for exclusive content to a board game if you back it, because like I said, there's been times where I have missed backing events because I either didn't have the money at the time or I didn't know about it. And you find out, oh, you kind of miss out on these cool things, and sometimes they're huge components to the game. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of exclusive content. So this artwork is cool. So I would have just included an art book for anybody who pre-ordered. Especially like these guys are both cool. Like especially this guy. I'd feel horrible if I missed out on this guy. He's so cool. So that is, and I think these are supposed to be like stretch goals. I'm not sure if these are exclusive to the backing or not. But if they are, I mean, what if you're somebody who just hasn't paid attention to Heroscape, and it turns out that, you find out that you might find out that Heroscape is back up when you see the box at your game store. So, yeah, I have no idea why they made this decision. Hold on. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to call it quits here, guys, for right now. But anyway, yeah. All right. I hope you guys. I'll have to do some more discussion about this later, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you later.